From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Laura Brodnick.
And I'm Ksenia Lukic.
And coming up on the show today, there's no way to sugarcoat this. All the young stars and some youngish stars in Hollywood, they're all hooking up. They're all going on walks. They're all getting revenge with TikToks. We're going to get into the tangled web of who is dating who in Hollywood at the moment because you would need like a private investigator to figure this out.
I'm confused.
Yes. Well, we're going to get into that. Plus, the stars of your favourite TV shows kind of hate you at the moment, and it's with good reason. A whole bunch of stars from some of the biggest TV shows in the world have come out against some of their fandom, and we're going to get into that. But first,
one of my all-time favourite 2000 stars is finally releasing some new music, Hilary Duff. So she just announced that she is going to be making a comeback to music for the first time in a decade. So she just let out a press release saying that she has signed with Atlantic Records, who also represent like Ed Sheeran, Lizzo, Cardi B, and she's going to be releasing new music. On top of that, she is going to be doing a docuseries sort of chronicling the whole process with none other than Sam Wrench. Laura, who is Sam Wrench?
Yes, the documentary filmmaker who did Taylor Swift's documentary.
Okay, so that's going to...
Yeah, so I think we can expect that lens of like a bit of grittiness, a bit of the kind of like looking through the lens of the Hollywood side and the fame side of her life, but a very sort of specific type of documentary storytelling.
Yeah, and I am actually really excited for this because I was definitely a huge Hilary Duff fan back in the early 2000s. I mean, the peak for me was the Lizzie McGuire movie. But she's been through this massive career. Obviously, we've had Lizzie McGuire, we had the Lizzie McGuire movie, and then she went into releasing music. She had Cinderella's Story with Chad Michael Murray. I loved that movie. And Raise Your Voice, another great, cheesy, bad but good movie. And then she kind of had a little bit of a break, right? Like kind of slipped away for a while. Her previous album, Breathe In, Breathe Out, back in 2015, didn't really get a lot of critical acclaim. It was kind of panned. Fans didn't really like it. But that same year, she goes into the series Younger. Did you watch Younger?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows. I've watched it multiple times. I've interviewed all the cast except Hilary, which is a story I could tell because she and I are feuding. And I weirdly once flew to New York from Australia just for one night to go to one of the Younger launch parties where I had like drinks with the cast on a rooftop and had like a crazy time.
Did you have a drink with Nico Tortorella?
Yes, they are lovely. And when I said to them on the red carpet that I had just flown in from Australia, they were like, high five, what's up Australia? And we hugged. And I thought that was really helpful because I was really jet lagged.
They are so gorgeous.
They're so lovely. And then we've had them on the spill before and they like burst into tears when we were talking about the show because they are just so like emotional about it. And I was like, same. So that show has like been like weirdly a huge part of my life.
I rewatched it recently and really enjoyed it. It also is quite funny though because the whole premise of the show is that like millennials are the hot young people and now we're considered old.
Yeah.
So any Gen Zers who haven't watched Younger, you might get a real kick out of it because we were cool once too, you know? But she did have a bit of like a flop era after that, would you say?
Well, it just felt like after Younger that she was really set up to kind of go into this big TV stardom because Younger had been such a huge hit, ran for so many seasons. She was a huge star in that, and obviously she's got this huge inbuilt fan base. And that's why the last episode of Younger is her character moving to LA because there was supposed to be a Kelsey spinoff, so she was supposed to go and have her own big series hooked on her. But then the details are a bit fuzzy here on like whether that show just didn't go ahead or whether the fact that she signed on to How I Met Your Father was the sort of reason it didn't go ahead. Now, How I Met Your Father is a touchy one here on the spill because it's the only retraction I've had to do about a TV show. I don't know if you watched it.
Okay.
You looking like you hate it.
I watched How I Met Your Mother and funnily enough, I'm rewatching it at the moment as a bit of a comfort
It's a really good show.
I mean, it's cheesy and it's silly, but it really is one of my comfort shows. Towards the end, I do not love the final season. I never watched How I Met Your Father because I was like, no,
Yeah, so How I Met Your Mother is like actually I know like some bits of it haven't aged well, but that's just like a lot of TV shows in general. But it's really like clever world building, really clever comedy. Like the writing is quite specific, and it's all pulled off because of those characters. Like I think that setting wouldn't work without all those kind of factors. So when How I Met Your Father came out, I was a bit like, I don't know if I was the same. I was like, I don't know if I love this. But then I really love Hilary Duff, and there was a few other actors in the mix from TV shows I love. So I gave it a go and I watched the first episode, and it was quite fun. It was also just quite fun to have a new comedy of like Hilary Duff and her friends being single and having fun in New York. Like I feel like comedies have forgotten that that's what we want to watch a lot of the time. So I watched the first episode, gave it a rave review, and then I watched the rest of the season after it came out. It was terrible. And I don't say that lightly. It was just no thought had been put into the script. There was a whole episode just on her Hilary Duff's character, talking about how what she shows on social media and what her real life is like are not the same thing. And I was like, this is not the comedy I'm looking for. So that show got cancelled. And then also she was rebooting Lizzie McGuire.
Yes.
And so they had shot the first episode. It had all it was all set to be this big new series, but then she and the studio had a disagreement over what the show should be, and they own the character, so it couldn't go ahead. So she wanted it to be like, Lizzie's in her 30s now, she's a bit of a mess, she's hooking up with lots of people, she's basically just being a normal woman in her 30s, but the studio wanted it to be like, it's kid friendly, it's fun. And so that unaired pilot is somewhere out in the world and we'll never see it.
I know, it's interesting as well, because for a Disney show like that, Lizzie McGuire was so wholesome, and it kind of, to change that and make it something that's a bit grittier and more realistic for a woman in her 30s, that's going to be a real creative difference, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, How I Met Your Father, I just basically refused to watch it because I do really like How I Met Your Mother.
I would just go and rewatch her movies or just listen to the new music she's putting out. Because I guess also like she's a mum of 4 now. She's been busy doing that. Once she and her husband like got married and had their 3 daughters, and their names like May, Banks, and Towns, which I just love as like celebrity baby names. So I guess she's been busy doing that. And now the fact that she's coming out with new music, hopefully some movie roles, I just feel like we're ready for the comeback of Hilary Duff. Not that she ever super went away, but I just feel like after all those different TV projects stalled, cancelled, or were not allowed to be aired, she was kind of in that faltering moment, and now it's like a good time for a comeback.
And it looks like she will be writing some of the songs with Matthew Comer, who is also a songwriter and musician. So we might get some collabs there, but we don't have a release date yet, but very excited about it. Okay, so young Hollywood / mid-30s Hollywood is in a serious dating frenzy right now. Everybody's dating everybody. There's so many rumors about new relationships, and it is so confusing. It is like a web, and I feel like I need a whiteboard and a texter to start making all the connections. So we're going to go through a few of them today and just clarify who's dating who.
Yes, because we've had some new sightings recently, some new sightings on the ground, and like people who are watching this and living vicariously through all these youngish, some of them are in their late 30s, young hot people in Hollywood, just feeling really nervous and scared about where the state of everything is. So we're going to break that down.
The most recent sighting is Austin Butler and Em Radikowski in New York having dinner together, sort of cozying up earlier this week. Em Rada has previously been linked to Harry Styles. They like macked out in Tokyo years ago. Not really that important. But Austin Butler, on the other hand, was recently connected to Zoe Kravitz.
Yes.
Because they did a movie together.
Yes. So that's our first line. So our first line in this imaginary chart that we've got up in front of us is that Austin and Zoe were rumored to be hooking up for months and months, and not just because of all the pat photos that came out from the set where they're hugging and making out because they were acting, but all the pat photos of them like in bars and like going to theaters and like in like lobbies and stuff like that where it looked like they were hugging and being really cozy. And then once she started being linked to Harry Styles, which is our other line, then he started being photographed with Em Rada. And it's quite funny to be watching like all the Austin and Em Rada photos and videos and stuff come out of their one date that there's like, it's been documented more than like a big world news event, because people started really fixating on whether or not they had had dinner which is such a weird thing because there's some photos where the table is clean and there's some photos where the table is full of dishes. And some fans were like, they only hooked up for a drink, and someone's like, no, they had dinner. And then they interviewed one of the servers at the restaurant. The server said that they were having dinner and they didn't. It became this whole kind of like fandom throwdown over what their date had actually entailed, even though there's a lot of photos of them like hugging and stuff, but no kissing photos at this time.
And everything is very grainy. Like they're pretty grainy images. So that's our latest one. So Austin Amrata. And then if we just go back to Zoe Kravitz, who is now linked to Harry Styles, that looks like it's pretty promising as a relationship.
Yes. And also going back what you're saying about the link of Harry to Amrata.
Yeah.
The funny thing about that is one of the few times I feel like they were kissing for the cameras, because I don't know if you've seen those paparazzi videos of them kissing. They didn't have to do it in the place they did it. They're in a car and they're kissing in the car. You can kind of see through the window, and then the window thing goes up, and then they get out of the car and they walk into the hotel, and then they walk back out and they start kissing, and then they walk back in. So I was like, was that walkout for our benefit? I mean, no shade to that. If I was kissing Harry Styles in the street, I would want someone to get a photo of that. And we know that Amrata like loves a little bit of shock value with her relationships. Like she's an online girl. She knows how to create a conversation. But yeah, that video just lives rent free in my head.
Yeah, it was probably just a fun little pash. Okay, so now we're going back from Austin Butler. We're going to move to Olivia Jade Giannulli. Olivia Jade was linked to Jacob Elordi for 3 years. They were kind of on and off for a while. They recently saw each other at the Toronto International Film Festival, where there was this big story about Jacob helping her with her train, and it was all very sweet. They're not together. But now it's been said that Olivia Jade is connected to Glen Powell.
Well, see, I think Jacob and Olivia are still together. I mean, they are one of the great kind of young Hollywood romances of our time. After Jacob Elordi broke up with Zendaya, and there was so much hatred for him because there were all these allegations that he cheated on Zendaya, potentially on her birthday. That's never been proven, but it would just make a really good Taylor Swift song if that was true. And then he and Olivia Jade have been like pretty, like he's always pictured with her family on holidays. They're like rumors they're living together. They like don't mention each other in public at all, even though they're spotted together all the time. And because she's an influencer, she's doing like daily vlogs, daily get ready with me, daily like here's what I'm wearing. So you have this insight into every corner of her life. And she is a huge online audience, like absolutely crazy. That's why it was such a big deal when her mum, who is the Full House star Lori Loughlin, went to jail she was part of that college admission scam. Yeah. And the worst part of that is that when her mum went to jail for getting her into college, Olivia Jade had done a video saying that she didn't really want to go to college, and she knew, and because she was doing it like a vlog about like setting up her dorm room, and she was like, I know I'm going to a really good school and I'm really lucky, but I don't really want to go. I just want to be doing this. Like she just wants to be an influencer, and her parents like, you have to go to college, and they went to jail for it. Anyway, the part of that is that she lives her whole life online, but Jacob Elordi is never seen, to the point now where her comments are absolutely flooded with every time she posts a video, everyone just goes, show him, show him, show him, show him, talking about Jacob. And so recently it came out they had potentially broken up. But I still think they're together, and I think this TikTok, I'm getting really in the trenches now. Like I know how stupid this sounds. Did you see the TikTok with Romy Mars?
No.
So this is I actually am so sad that I'm a girl.
This feels like really deep.
This is a slight Oh, no. It's been like, it's like all over everyone's TikTok and stuff like that. But I just know I sound like a trash human bringing it up. But anyway, that's what we're here for. So Romy Mars is the daughter of Sofia Coppola. Sofia Coppola's involved in this whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need a whiteboard.
No, I know. I wish we need like red strings and stuff. I know. I never thought we're talking about like Zoe Kravitz pashing, Austin pashing, and then Sofia Coppola's involved.
I have another connection as well, so keep going.
So Romy Mars is Sofia Coppola's daughter, became famous many years ago when she went rogue online talking about her parents grounding her and her trying to like charter a private helicopter and all of this stuff. Since then, she's become a musician, and she's kind of like the big new rising pop girly of the moment. And she and Jacob Elordi recently did a TikTok dance together. Like, she pulled him into the dance. They did the dance together. And everyone thought they were dating. And also everyone was like, is this like a slap in the face to Olivia Jade of Jacob Elordi being like, well, you broke up with me. Now I'm going to go and like make it look like I'm dating this young pop girl. And then all of a sudden, Olivia Jade is at the premiere of his Frankenstein movie. And she walked in front of everyone and she waved and smiled. And it's the first time there's ever been like a full professional link between them. So people think she was coming in to like shut down those rumors.
But wasn't it after that she was spotted with Glen Powell having dinner?
No, the Glen Powell happened before. Yeah. So there's so it's like Olivia and Jacob potentially break up. She has dinner with Glen Powell. He does a TikTok with Romy Mars. She goes to his film premiere for the biggest film of his career. Then they are seemingly back together. Glen Powell is out here alone by himself. Okay. Talking about how his ex-girlfriend made up things about the Sydney Sweeney breakup. There's a lot happening.
Okay, so Jacob Elordi, let's just say he is single. Jacob Elordi also dated Kaya Gerber.
Yes.
And so did Austin Butler.
Yes. Kaya and Austin for like many, many years. Yeah. People thought they were like definitely going to get married or secretly engaged at least.
So yeah, the Austin Butler and Kaya Gerber, 21 to 23. She only dated Jacob Elordi for about a year. Kaya Gerber is now with Lewis Pullman, so she can go out now.
Yeah.
But like, my head hurts.
It's just kind of interesting because the thing is, a lot of this is being done kind of for the benefit of fans. It's either little dots of PR romances like with Zoe and Austin or with Harry Styles and Zoe Kravitz. They have just been seen so much together recently that people are almost already within a span of a week have lost interest in their romance. And I almost think they potentially did that on purpose, that they just hit us with so many coffee walks. They're hugging in public. They're walking around arm in arm. And every day you're seeing the same pictures and they're kind of in the same outfits. It's just like they've diluted the story themselves really quickly so that they can just now go about their lives. And they'll still be photographed, but not for the intensity if people were trying to prove they were together, I think.
Okay. I feel like Austin Butler and Glen Powell are the same person. Like they give me the same energy. Like they, in terms of, like I would very easily get them confused if I had face blindness.
That's the thing. A lot of these people all just look exactly the same. So when photos of Glen Powell and Sydney Sweeney came out and then photos of Glen and Olivia Jade come out, people were like, I'm sorry, is that not just the same person? And to an extent, yes. It's kind of all just mismatched in there. But I think that like this is like, when we're saying younger Hollywood, it's kind of like all these celebs under 40. This is kind of their new way of like either putting a relationship in the public eye, like we go for a coffee walk. Whereas the more old school thing would be to do like a full red carpet walk or even like an old school like Jennifer Aniston this week did her soft launch officially of her new boyfriend, but she did it the really, really old school way of she did a carousel of pics and just put his like the back of his head in one photo.
Oh yeah.
Subtle, chic, a timeless classic.
Very soft launchy.
But if they were, because Jennifer Aniston's in her 50s now, if they were like in their 20s or 30s, they would have done like a papped coffee walk together as the way to launch their relationship.
Okay, but I don't feel like any of these are 100% confirmed, and that's why it's driving everyone mad, because every day we get this new couple that's linked to someone else who's also dated this person and this person and this person. It's like the most incestuous, crazy. It's like a big circle of dating.
Yeah, but I also think like people keep saying like, oh my God, Zoe Kravitz is hooking up with everyone. I'm like, if one of your friends was like, oh, I'm working with this guy and we went on 2 dates, that's like her and Austin. But then I've been talking to this other guy. Also, apparently Harry was in like a relationship, but he and his girlfriend had an open relationship. This is all just absolutely terrible gossip. But they were in an open relationship and then he and Zoe started hooking up. But if your friend said to you like, I'm gone on a date with like 2 dates with a guy from work that I quite like, but I've been talking to this other guy. We have heaps of mutual friends. It's how these people know each other. They have mutual friends. And now we're dating. That would sound so normal. Absolutely. But because they're all being papped.
It's absolutely no judgment here. A pash here, like we're not saying that they're all in full relationships. It's just so funny because they're all such public figures. We see it all. We see that. And who knows, maybe that Olivia Jade, Glen Powell date, quote unquote date, was like an absolute disaster. And Olivia Jade walked away texting her friends being like, oh my God, he couldn't stop talking about
I'm going to take that tall man back. I think the only people who are definitely together is Zoe Kravitz and Harry Styles. Either they're together or they're putting on the biggest show, which seems crazy for both of them to be like, that's not just a publicity stunt to commit to doing a coffee walk for the paparazzi every single day we're on week 2 of this now. And the other couple I think are definitely together, even though they'll never say it out loud, are Jacob Elordi and Olivia Jade, just because her going to the biggest like premiere of his career and allowing herself to be photographed with him in a way she never has before. That's couple shit for those crazy kids.
I'm not convinced on that one. The only other one that I am 100% convinced on is Kai Gerber and Lewis Pullman, which was...
Oh, no, but they've said they're together, though.
I know. That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm convinced. Because we've actually heard...
Yeah.
We
I do
are
love
confirmed.
those cute kids together.
So that's just like my little side people. But yes, I think we're going to have to do like a video with some like links and a marker.
Yeah.
And maybe we can like pop it up on our socials or something.
Yeah, and do a little where everyone's at. And meanwhile, also Sydney Sweeney keeps getting thrown in the mix and she's like, I'm just over here making my movie that might win me an Oscar, and she's like hooking up with Scooter Braun. But, you know, because all those blonde women are like in the mix with these men, people think she's there too. But that's where we're at. I hope everyone feels smarter after that segment.
Or your brain might hurt.
Yeah. Now, it brings me no joy to say this next thing because I'm a huge fangirl. It's of so many different things, but in particular TV shows. It is the basis of my whole life, career, and the relationship that I have with my family and my friends. So I say this with love and disappointment in my heart that fandoms at the moment have gone too far.
I 100% agree with you. And I think there's a very big difference between positive fandom and negative fandom. And unfortunately, there is a side of the internet known as the trolls who take that fandom to a level that is really, really toxic.
Yes. And obviously, again, this isn't a new thing. It's been happening for a long time. But I just think with the way people can like mount full hate campaigns now on TikTok or different social platforms and mainstream media picks it up, but also how they're bringing it into real life in terms of like stars getting like booed at appearances or shouted out in the street. It's getting very intense out there. So a few stars of some really big TV shows have spoken out about it. And it's not the first time that celebrities on TV shows have said this. It's more so what I'm noticing is this really kind of startling change in their language where they've gone from saying like, oh, it can be a bit difficult to being like, you guys are crazy and awful and we hate you. Like the change in tone and how they're saying it is crazy. So the first one I want to bring up is Olivia Cooke, who is the star of House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spin-off series, which is obviously it takes so long for them to make it. There's years between seasons, but when it's on one of the biggest shows in the world. So she recently did an interview with The Hollywood Reporter because she's got a few other projects coming out, and they asked her about House of the Dragon. And she says that not only is she seeing the hate for her character Alicent online, but she's seeing it in real time. She was talking about people chasing her down the street and like wanting to get photos with her, and she'll say yes because they're fans, and they'll be like, take the photo and say, just so you know, we hate your character. We really hate you. And people will say that to her when she's like walking to set, like just crazy stuff like that. And then she said in this interview, some of the fans of House of the Dragon have been fucking horrible to our cast. And she said it makes her really angry because she feels like there's this expectation for actors to bow down to their fans and be like obedient to them while they are saying all these hate-fueled things. And basically the subtext is she's like, I've had enough. I don't care if people hate me. I don't care if I don't get jobs. I'm not pandering to these angry people anymore.
And I think this is a wider conversation on what is the responsibility of a celebrity to their fan base. Like how much do they owe them? And I think that it has kind of gotten to a point where they're saying enough is enough. I don't owe you anything. I'm here to do my job and make a TV show. And yes, having fans is wonderful and having the support is wonderful. But when it starts to impact me personally and negatively affect my life, that's when it's going to be a big issue.
Yeah, exactly. It's also kind of interesting because these like really big franchises are so built on fans and fandoms, and this idea of like shutting them down and kind of like this like actors versus fandoms in this like way of like before actors would like kind of pretend some of this stuff wasn't happening, I think will be interesting going forward for like how these shows are promoted and stuff like that. The other big celebrity who has had something recently, and this one really shocked me, is Ian Somerhalder, who of course plays one of the greatest TV characters of all time, Damon Salvatore on the Vampire Diaries.
Sexiest vampire in the world.
Yes, he really is. And just also, again, obviously there's a lot of wild stuff with that show, but that show, Vampire Diaries, it's been off the air for so many years. It's still got this huge fandom. It stood the test of time in a way that I hate when people write it off as being stupid. I was like, yes, you might think it's stupid, but that show is standing the test of time. It's become a classic because they still do fandom events. Like the cast still do fandom events all over the world. They sell out. People still get together and like celebrate it. The whole town where they filmed it in has become like a shrine to that show, and you can go and, which I actually really want to do as a side note, go and visit all the houses and everything. It's a whole thing. Anyway, Ian has always been kind of quite sweet about the fans. I haven't personally met him because he's on, I don't know if you have, he's on my no interview list. I don't interview people from my favorite shows, but I know lots of people who have interviewed him over the years and met him. Apparently he's really sweet and respectful and lovely. And he's usually really, really careful about not saying anything bad about the fandom. And he still goes to all those big fan conventions. And like, yes, you get paid a shit ton of money for them, but he will stand in line for hours and just take photos with fans. So up until this point, I did think that he was someone who would never speak out against it.
He has in fact done so though. And I want you to read the quote because it's pretty shocking.
Yes. So there's a new book coming out, which I'm actually kind of excited to read. It's called I Was Feeling Epic. I love that. I Was Feeling Epic. That's a line from the show. Have you watched it?
I actually haven't watched it. I just know he's really sexy. Sorry, the reason I say he's the sexiest vampire is I haven't watched the Vampire Diaries, but all I've seen is photos of him and he looks really hot.
No, he is very hot. You're correct.
I'm just basing my hottest vampire in the world off
a visual. That's totally fine. No, that's a really iconic line from the show.
Okay, sorry, because I had a blank face.
Yeah,
and
I just looked at you really expectantly. So the name of this book is called I Was Feeling Epic, An Oral History of the Vampire Diaries. And it's written by Samantha Highfill, who's an editor at Entertainment Weekly. And she's like done the hard yards of interviewing everyone who's involved in the show to get all the behind the scenes. And Ian has done an interview with her. And I was really shocked reading this because I have never heard this sweet man talk this way, even though he's been getting ripped apart publicly for years. So he said, I was the biggest Delena fan. If you don't know what it is, Delena is the fandom of Stefan, his character, and then Elena Gilbert, who is the main characters on the show. And that was their couple name on the show. And people who were invested in them are the Delena stans.
Whatever happened to couple names? I feel like couple names are kind of dropped off.
Yeah, I feel like in our last segment, all of those people should have a couple name.
I know, we don't have like the Brangelinas. Like, what is going on? Where are couple names
Yeah, people
now?
have dropped the ball on that. That's such a good...
I think we need to bring the couple name back.
Yeah, we should have like Zoe and Harry should be Zari? Or something like that.
Zari,
yeah.
Or,
okay, I'll think on that.
Oh, wait. Stravitz? No, I'm really bad at this. I feel like we need to do like a Kravitz and a Styles. Styles.
Yeah, it doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Yeah, this isn't working.
Maybe
that's why they've got...
we will circle back to that because some couple names would be helpful with everything that's happening with the benefits of the next wave of benefits in the world. So in this book, Ian said, I was the biggest Delena fan ever until I realized the fandom had the ability to turn on people and become really mean. Something about a man who's about to turn 50 being like, they're really mean is also quite funny. And then I was like, wait, whoa. This is a fictional show with fictional characters. You can't be mean to other people in real life. And then he said, it did change my appreciation of the fandom. I don't like people being mean to one another. And then he said, these fans are a toxic cancer on society.
That's absolutely huge. That's actually very pointed.
Yeah. It's like him lighting a match and setting the fandom on fire.
And that in itself, I think, really explains how sick celebrities are of this. And I think we've seen studios respond to these very aggressive fandoms in The Summer I Turned Pretty. We saw that we were talking about it last week. And, the company had to, put out warnings saying don't harass them. And I think the fact that Ian Somerhalder has said that, and, we've got Olivia Cooke saying something like that, maybe down the line, there's going to be more focus on holding these people accountable for what they are saying to the stars.
Yeah, to an extent. I just don't know how you hold people like this accountable, because especially now, as much as we're talking about people coming up to these actors in the street and stuff, a lot of it is just done online through like anonymous accounts. But I also think it's interesting because the Vampire Diaries was on over a decade ago and the Summer I Turned Pretty is happening right now. And I think one of the reasons why people are so up in arms and the hatred for some of these characters is so intense is that both of these shows are hooked on a love triangle. And nothing brings out the anger and the passion and just a breakdown of like how to behave in society like a love triangle. Because with the Vampire Diaries, you had Elena, Stefan, and Damon. Oh my God, they're actually both two brothers. Wow. Guys,
oh my
parallels.
gosh, there is a connection.
So it's love triangles with two brothers that apparently makes people, adults and teens alike, lose their freaking minds when they're watching it. So back in the day with Vampire Diaries, the fandom was so toxic because you had Team Stefan or Team Damon. But the real life side of that was that Ian was dating Nina Dobrev for many years in real life, who played Elena. And I think some of the toxic fandom he's referring to here is how angry people were at him when he and Nina Dobrev broke up, to the point where there has been a lot of hatred and harassment towards his wife, Nikki Reed, Twilight star. It's all the vampire franchises coming together. And he actually says in this book, the reason that Ian left Hollywood, and he does these fan conventions every so often, but he's like, he left Hollywood to become an entrepreneur because he couldn't deal with the drastic fandom. So I just want people to also think about that. This is the real life consequences of trolling your favorite celebrities, is that Damon Salvatore is never going to be on our screens again.
I think it's also when art imitates life, when they actually start dating in real life, that's when people start to meld it into reality and think that, oh, these are actually the characters because they're dating now in real life. Like, it's like people kind of go a little cuckoo.
And again, as I was saying, I love a fandom, but like I keep my fandom to myself. Like I cry at home and I buy weird merch and I watch things over and over again, and I like fly to different states to watch things with my sisters. But you can do it without attacking people online. But that's what we've seen, with the Summer I Turned Pretty at the moment, is that because it's a love triangle and it's happening at this point in time, it's like people are just completely attacking the actor who plays Jeremiah. But they're also doing that not just because they hate his character, but they hate things that he has said in public, whether that's fair or not. But they also think that the other two stars who play Belly and Conrad, people think that the actors hate this other actor. It's a whole thing. None of this is like proven. You have to sort of watch clips and look at old interviews and stuff, and you can read it a certain way. But it's like people have transferred their hatred to real life.
Yeah, and I think that's where it gets dangerous. So my personal opinion is that for these massive fandoms, there really does need to be some sort of protection either for the actors. I don't know how they do it, particularly with the way the internet is. But like, do we just start putting out more of these warnings? Like, do not harass them. Like, and all these celebrities should be speaking out. I think it's really brave of them to say, guys, I will not be spoken to like that. Stand up for yourself.
Yeah, I do think it's good that they're now just not mincing their words and they're just being like, you guys are fucking crazy. But I also think that warning that Prime Video put out for people not to troll, and they put it out twice now for people not to troll the Summer I Turned Pretty cast, did absolutely nothing. It was like putting up like a paper chain in front of a stampeding crowd. Like they just all ran over it and did what they were going to do anyway. But also that's just the power of fandoms. They're a beautiful but dangerous creature. Like they're good and bad.
I'm like you. I keep my fandom to myself.
Yeah, we just do it at home in a creepy way.
Yeah,
the way God intended.
I keep it to myself. I very rarely talk about it. It's a very personal, private thing. And because I'm embarrassed about a lot of my fandom.
I'm not embarrassed. I'm just not lining up outside for anyone. That's that. But anyway, hope all these actors are doing well. And as we come now to the finale of the Summer I Turned Pretty, I just hope these crazy kids can kind of keep it together.